Hello my friends, back at you again with another video. This is Nashawn Jordan, your private violin teacher, and today we'll be talking about high schoolers, high school tips. What do you high schoolers need to know? Okay, what do you need to know when you're at the high intermediate level at this point? You might even be a moderate style player, but somewhere on the scale of like low proficiency to high proficiency, you should definitely be at least there in the middle, if not a little bit over towards the more advanced. What do you do? Where are you going from here? You know, this is the critical road to where some of you might be playing in more concerts that are much more of a big deal. Like when I was in high school, my favorite part about it was that we put on a show. We put on a show, like violinists, violas, cellos, bass. And I'm not talking like no 5 or 10 player ensemble. I'm talking about must have been easily 40 or 50, pretty much a full orchestra minus like a harp. And actually, I think the teacher managed to get us a harp player in there one day. So we pretty much had a full orchestra. It was amazing. For these performances, Miss Toyer, my teacher, J.H. Rhodes, she stressed our intonation articulation. You know, this was somewhat emphasized in the middle school video, but this is highly critical and important during your high school years. This is where string ensembles will come in handy. These small groups will allow you to focus in on where you need to practice. It'll allow you to stand out for those of you who want to stand out. It'll allow you to be both either a first violinist, a second violinist. It'll allow you to show your technical proficiency as well as your variety of musicality. So during this time, and what I did, I would sometimes play at my local Boys and Girls Club, but this is mainly like practicing, but still, you know, kind of got my name, you know, around, you know, to people's ears. I would also play in where else was a pretty big, theater, right? That was a pretty big, important one too, because in one of my high schools, we had to play tracks from the local musical. You know, as the theater put on these musicals, we was in the lower area of the stage, literally right below the stage, playing live music to their performances. So some of you might have the opportunity to play along with living performances. This is not something that all violinists are used to or have an opportunity to, so I highly recommend you take advantage of this. Also, for those of you who are looking to make a few extra bucks in here and there, if you have the talent, this is where you could possibly start offering violin lessons to some of the younger kids, whether that be in your church, community center, people you meet, friends of the family. You should be skilled enough to teach the basics of music theory, musicality, and patience. This will help provide you some money for accessories to keep your violin up, whether that be like strings or a new bridge, new case, traveling expenses. High schoolers, intermediate players here. What got me to the Nationals the second time, playing in Disneyland with the band, was for the most part humility on my part, because I was the only violinist, man. And all these other band instruments, I mean, I felt that some of them were so much better than I, but that's just all perspective. I mean, they thought I was amazing because I was the only violinist who had been there in the past 7 years. So it taught me a lot of humility in the sense that even though I was the only instrument, I understood and recognized the power in all the other instruments there, the skill that took for a band to truly come together. I was never truly in a band besides very briefly on that like first second year of playing orchestra. But what was interesting was that in that band, the teacher was like, okay, I'm not really an orchestral teacher. I teach metal instruments, brass instruments here. This is not my thing, but I do, I went to school for this and I do know how to do this. So he was like, all right, I recognize you're pretty darn advanced here. I mean, for a violinist of your age, this was like junior year of high school. It was like, for a violinist your age, I see that for the most part you can teach yourself. I'm paraphrasing here. For the most part you can teach yourself. You got your scales down. You got to make sure your scales are up. You got to tune yourself for the most part in accordance to band. And I don't really always have violin music for you, so we have to make do with you somehow. What he ended up doing, which is rather brilliant, I didn't even know you could do it, he had me play the oboe part. Yes, I was a violinist playing the oboe. Hear me out. Playing the oboe music. So he gave me oboe sheet music, and because it was like 97%, 98% similar, I was able to keep up with this band. You'd be asking yourself, oh, Nashon, why didn't he just give you violin music? Well, he's a band teacher. A majority of his archive doesn't have anything to do with violins. So it's either he write me music or he find me music. This is the conundrum of some teachers. Some teachers when they're dealing with these instruments, they have to think of their toes very situationally. So the highlight, like I said, was making it to California. There, it was rather quick. Seemed a little bit quicker than the Epcot run I had years back in Florida. But what got me there, I feel, was like humility and just practice and dedication to my craft. I just kept going at it. During that time, I didn't always have a violin teacher. In my high school, I might have had a violin teacher maybe 3 out of the 4 years. When I mean a violin teacher, I mean someone who's directly influencing my violin skills. And granted, the band teacher did that, but he was mainly focused on the band, the group. It's all about the group. We're kind of taught that in orchestra, but we're not taught as much synchronization as they are. They're in unison. Be in unison, my friends. Be part of the group. Stand out when you need to. That's what being a band taught me. That's what being a traveling high school nationals, taught me. That's what the journey taught me. So until next time, my friends, this is Nashon Jordan. I put a violin reference guide in the description. If you haven't got it up already, make sure you pick that up. It has a pictorial note guide, so you'll know all the notes on your fretboard. It also will have stuff on it that helps you out with dynamics and helps you out with just so much for the violin. We got dynamics, fretboard notes. We have note breakdowns. Pick it up. Use a little cheat sheet reference guide. And if you want to take your learning to a next level, I highly recommend you get Violin Essentials by Blue Heron Studios. It's a step-by-step guide to learning, practicing, and just playing the violin. You need scales. It has tons of scales. Honestly, it might have 50, I think it's over 50 to 60 scales in it, with their arpeggio counterparts and alternative practice methods, along with pictorial guides to help you get through scales, to help you get through the arpeggio. So make sure you pick that course up. Make sure you pick up that content. Heck, it's less than $15 a week. That's less than you pay most violin teachers, to be honest. Let's just be real. So get that course, get that book, take your journey to the next level. And until next time, my friends, this is Nashon Jordan, your private violin teacher.